Well, President Trump is pursuing certainly a very aggressive policy in Venezuela. He, in North Korea, he surprised everybody by having the summit with Kim Jong-un. There's been no progress, or that progress hasn't really come yet, so it's unclear what's going to happen. And the biggest shift has really been on Iran, where there's some speculation that things could get out of hand and could get very difficult there. But in Iran, he has rejected the deal that was struck under the Obama administration with Iran, and tensions are getting very bad. And this was something that his national security advisor, especially John Bolton, has very strong ideas on, and is very a hawk on foreign policy. And so that issue is, is getting very, very worrying. The biggest difference in Venezuela is that Trump has found an autocrat that he doesn't like. And that's true in Iran as well. Whereas Kim Jong-un, they had love letters, and everything seemed to be going very well between them. So, and of course with Putin, he also has a soft spot for Putin and for Iran and for others as well. But with Iran, and as well as Venezuela and Latin America, he has had to pursue a much tougher line, a harder line. Well, in the short term, unfortunately, I don't see any resolution, which is tragic because so many Venezuelans have left, and I think they're going to leave at an accelerated pace by the end of this year. So I don't, even under the most optimistic scenario, I really doubt that the flood of refugees and migrants is going to slow down very much. So in the medium term and the long term, Venezuela eventually will have to have some sort of negotiation. Who that's going to be with is unclear, but there has to be a deal that's going to be reached, clearly with the military and with other political forces, with the opposition forces. And there have to be guarantees to the military. A lot of these people are very much involved in criminal activity and drug trafficking and the like, and yet they're not going to leave and give up power unless they have some protection and some guarantee. So that's, I think, what we're looking at is a negotiation. It's going to take some time to work out. I think there could be a military coup. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. And then we'll see what kind of military government there is. But my guess that in the short term, I think Maduro is in a pretty secure position. Well, one way not to solve the migration problem is by imposing tariffs. That is not the solution. And it was very unfortunate that President Trump has linked trade and tariffs with immigration. In the long term, a sustainable solution is to invest in the three main sending countries, Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala, that are obviously very troubled, tremendous violence, lack of economic opportunity. And I think if there's a really substantial development plan and support, which the Mexicans want, which López Obrador wants, and if the United States were ready to do that, support that, that's the only way you're going over the long term, is to improve the conditions within those three countries. And so you don't have the pressures that you have today for out-migration. There are a lot of other things that the United States can do on migration, just to get more asylum officers to the border. There are other, I think, good options. But one way not to do it is to impose tariffs on Mexico. The main changes have been the rise of populism, which is the rejection of the political class, and that, I think, started a long time ago, but I think it's accelerated today. I think all the polls show that there's tremendous disgust and disdain for the political class, And you've seen elections from Brazil to Mexico that highlight that. Both Lopez Obrador and Bolsonaro are a product of the rejection of most Mexicans and Brazilians to the status quo and a desire for change. And I think we're seeing it in other countries as well. And that is a real test and a challenge for politicians and for governments to respond in a way that will prevent other populist populist governments from appearing in Latin America. So I think we've seen that, and the United States turning to a populist in Donald Trump is not helpful. And this is a global phenomenon, a global movement, so there have been other examples of populism, but this seems to be something that can be found as well in Latin America. Well, CEBRI, I had the pleasure of being at CEBRI a couple of years ago. This is not my first visit here, but this is the first time the dialogue has done an event in collaboration and partnership with CEBRI. And it's an outstanding organization, plays a very important role, and there's a lot of shared interests between the dialogue and CEBRI on international relations, trying to improve foreign policy international relations. So we're very honored to have this opportunity to partner with CEBRI, and we're very happy that the director of CEBRI is a fellow at the Inter-American Dialogue. So there are very obvious connections, and we hope over time to even deepen those connections more.